Some people might not like Igarashi Gurimu, but this guy is actually one of the most dedicated and talented learners in all of Blue Lock. He's got the skills, ego, and mental strength to take on and even crush geniuses, no matter if it's Itoshi Rin. Wanna know how Igarashi, the lowest ranking player of Team C, can do it? Hold on tight, because starting with Igarashi Gurimu, we'll introduce you to every elite talented learner in Blue Lock. And at the end of the video, I'll also explain why Isagi and Kaiser aren't geniuses but talented learners instead. But to fully understand what makes Igarashi and the others on this list talented learners, we first need to talk about Ego's formula for evolution. According to Ego, human evolution in soccer follows two main paths: geniuses and talented learners. While geniuses are born with superhuman abilities that allow them to pull off incredible plays, like Shidou's Big Bang Drive or Nagi's 5-shot revolver fake valley, talented learners work differently. They analyze geniuses, develop new tactics, and use data to find ways to counter them. Talented learners are the ones who truly understand and appreciate the skills of geniuses. While geniuses have the power to change the world's standards, talented learners are the ones who turn those genius abilities into the new standard. As Ego once said, the world doesn't revolve around geniuses because both geniuses and talented learners share the same stage. Geniuses can't match talented learners when it comes to coordination, adaptability, and logic. So how is Igarashi, of all people, a talented learner? Well, that's because he's known as the Genius Killer. His special move with the Genius Killer Militia was so effective in the Neo-Egoist League that he even managed to shake Ren's mental. During the Bastard Munchen vs Parasex Gen match, Ren was in full Berserker mode, charging recklessly at anyone in his path. Igarashi saw this as the perfect opportunity. By luring Ren in and baiting him into a foul, Igarashi turned the tables and took control as a defender. But why is this move proof that Igarashi is a talented learner? Simple, he wouldn't be able to pull it off without understanding how geniuses think. After talking with Isagi and figuring out how to maximize his own ego and dreams, Igarashi trained this move relentlessly against players like Kiyora. That's when Noah finally took notice. He plays on his opponent's overconfidence, making himself look like an easy target, only to flip the situation in his favor. Unfortunately, Rin eventually found a way to counter it. Using the space Loki created for him, Rin kept his distance and completely avoided Igarashi's trap. And when Igarashi tried it on another genius, Shidou, he ended up getting a yellow card and was subbed out. Now, his entire soccer career is hanging by a thread. Gene Kiyora is another surprisingly talented learner who knows exactly how to survive in Blue Lock. He's always fated to stand on the borderlines, or in simpler terms, life and death situations. This started the moment he was born. Because of his mother's illness, baby Kiyora only had a 50% chance of survival, but he made it. As he grew older, he often found himself stuck between his brother's fights. And that's when he had a realization: choosing the right side would give him the advantage. Whichever side he joined was the one that would win. His presence alone tipped the scales. It's the same in Blue Lock. When Kaiser and Isagi were locked in their battle during the Parasex Gen match, turning the field into pure chaos, Kiyora stayed back and watched. He carefully analyzed who between them was the underdog. For Kiyora, this was another life or death moment. Whoever he aligned with had to be the one who would make him shine. If the underdog won, he'd get the credit for making it happen. And after all that careful reading of the field, Kiyora made his move when no one expected it. He received the ball, entered the flow, and passed it to the underdog at that moment, Kaiser, helping him set up and score with his Kaiser Impact Magnus. Kiyora's ability to find that borderline spot is similar to Charles's contrarian spot or even Shidou's feel-good spot. But for Kiyora, it only works when he calmly reads the field and determines which teammate is the real underdog. That doesn't mean Kiyora will always side with Kaiser though. Their interests just happen to align this time. But next time, no one knows. Until the last minute, not even God knows who Kiyora will choose to side with. Oliver Aiku might just be the best talented learner defender in Blue Lock, and here's why. Unlike any other defender, Aiku has something special, metavision. But not just any metavision. His is unique because it lets him see the field, his opponents, and even his teammates' conditions through graphs and numbers. With this, Aiku can predict his opponent's moves and shut them down before they can even start their attack. He sees right through their entire skill set. It wasn't until the Neo-Egoist League match against Bastard Munchen that Aiku truly understood metavision. He used it to mark Isagi and completely shut down whatever he was planning. At that moment, Aiku was outplaying Isagi, even though Isagi was also using metavision. And this connects directly to Aiku's ego. He actually dreamed of becoming the world's best striker. He wanted to score goals and play for himself. But because of his coach and Japan's whole mentality of prioritizing teamwork, the very same mindset that ego despises, Aiku's dream was crushed. Before he knew it, playing soccer wasn't fun anymore. So Aiku changed his goal. Instead of being a striker, he decided to become the world's best defender. If he couldn't score goals, then he'd stop the mass-produced strikers his coaches kept creating. But when facing the Blue Lock players, Aiku saw them as true strikers, players with real egos. Instead of crushing them, he wanted to help them bloom. Now, in the Neo-Egoist League, Aiku is playing under Snuffy's system, and he's one of their top employees. Quick timeout. Before we dive into Yukimia and break down how he evolved from a talented learner to a full-blown confirmed genius, and reveal the most adaptable talented learners on this list, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to stick around until the end and hit that like and subscribe button. Alright, let's kick off! Yukimia Kinyu is Blue Lock's one-on-one emperor, and although he showed us some early hints that he's playing like a talented learner, Yukimia, like Nanise, might actually be a genius who has the inner workings of a talented learner. A mix of both. First off, let's get one thing straight. Yukimia is a selfish genius. We saw it during the U20 match when he used his street football style to dribble past defenders. And in the Manshine City match, he easily broke through their NPC defenders without trouble. But the real reason many consider Yukimia a talented learner is because of the shot he developed during the Manshine City game, the Sword Screw. This shot is basically a trickier version of his gyro shot, which itself was inspired by Chris Prince's illogical knuckleball. And this connects perfectly with Ego's definition of a talented learner. They analyze genius level plays, and through logic create something new that surpasses the original. That's exactly what Yukimia did. He studied Chris Prince's knuckleball and then built a shot that succeeded where Chris failed. With this shot, he secured Bastard Munchen's win. Even before that, Yukimia was closely tracking the field and watching Isagi's movements, hoping to outplay him. But in the end, the opposite happened. Isagi had him dancing in the palm of his hand. As a talented learner, Yukimia was lacking. Then, in chapter 288, we saw Yukimia fully embrace his genius side, which led to his greatest evolution so far, the Predator Eyes. This was Yukimia in peak ego mode. He dribbled past the Parasex Jin defenders, activated his Predator Eyes, and fired a shot toward the goal. But Charles read the play perfectly and blocked it just in time. Because if not, Yukimia might have just become Blue Lock's Demon King instead. When it comes to top tier defenders with crazy metavision, we can't forget that Niko is one of the first to show us how this ability actually works. Back in Blue Lock's first selection, Niko was the real mastermind behind Team Y. While everyone thought Okawa was their star player, Niko was actually the one controlling everything from the shadows. Just like Isagi, Niko's biggest strength is his ability to read the field. His main weapon is literally his vision and his ability to act fast based on what he sees. He can steal the ball from angles you'd never expect. He even has his own extermination turf. If you step into his zone, Niko will pop out of nowhere and snatch the ball right from you. His vision is so advanced that even when Isagi thinks he's unpredictable, Niko can still figure out his plays. But while Niko has always been using metavision subconsciously, he still has a weakness. Unlike Isagi, he sometimes gets tunnel vision and misses key blind spots. This flaw was exposed during the Ubers vs Bastard Munchen match. Niko got so caught up in his own evolution that he overlooked some crucial gaps in his play. Beyond the field, Niko has an insanely high football IQ. When Snuffy explained Uber's system and strategy, Niko processed all that data instantly and realized how ridiculously effective it was. He even pointed out that if they survive the Neo-Egoist League, they'll grow stronger at an insane rate. And as a fellow talented learner, Snuffy's system might just be the key to making Niko an even better analytical defender. Mark Snuffy isn't just the master striker of Ubers, he's the best all-around player in the world. He even surpasses Noah when it comes to being a true all-rounder. Out of all the master strikers, Snuffy is the only one we've actually seen use metavision. And not just any metavision. His analytical metavision is so sharp that it even outclasses Isagi and Kaiser's. But it's not just his metavision that makes him world class. Snuffy's ball keeping skills are top tier. And his off-the-ball movements let him slip into blind spots so effortlessly that only players with a great read of the field can even hope to keep track of him. And even if they do manage to follow him, stopping him is a whole different challenge. Snuffy has a ridiculous number of in-game strategies, and he can switch between them instantly to keep Ubers running like a well-oiled machine. This is why he's arguably the best talented learner in the world. He's designed so many strategies built on logic and deep analysis that he can adapt to any situation to secure a win. With Snuffy on the field, everything about Ubers is optimized. He's like a watchman, making sure his team is always on point. And it's not just his big brain that sets him apart. He even incorporates jujutsu into his playstyle, which allows him to compete with and even surpass the genius master strikers. In terms of overall ability, he ranks even higher than Noah. However, Snuffy understands better than anyone what happens when players lose their way. Whether they're a genius or talented learner, he knows the danger of having nothing left if football is taken away from them. That's why he treats football as a job and expects his players to do the same. To Snuffy, Ubers is a corporation, the matches are business deals, and his players are employees. And of course, he's the president. If they lose because of something he didn't anticipate, that's on him. That's why he believes they should approach every match with a businessman's mindset. At the end of the day, Snuffy doesn't want his players to suffer the same fate he and his late best friend Mick Moon did. He doesn't want Baro, Niko, Lorenzo, and the rest to throw away their futures because they treat football as everything. Believe it or not, Ranzei Corona is actually a talented learner too. His playstyle and ability to adapt, whether it's with Isagi or even the world's best Noah, prove just how skilled he is. The key to his success is a new technique he developed during the Neo-Egoist League called Planet Hotline. You see, Corona needed to find a way to secure a starting spot in Bastard Munchen, and since he chose to work with Isagi over Kaiser, he went all in on proving himself. He took on the role of a side back during training and made it crystal clear to Noah that he could adapt to Isagi's playstyle to help him score goals. And through sheer logic and dedication, he created a move that requires elite coordination. With Planet Hotline, Corona basically becomes a planet, or rather a heavenly body, orbiting around Isagi. His sharp turns and speed makes this possible. And he positions himself in a way that enhances Isagi's metavision and gives him an even clearer view of the field. Kurona reads the entire field to ensure that each pass is at the perfect distance. He instinctively finds optimal positions that benefit Isagi while making life miserable for their opponents. And at one point, he even used Planet Hotline to link up with both Noah and Isagi. This created a 3-man version of Planet Hotline. There aren't many players who can see the game the way Isagi does, but Hiori Yo is one of them. In fact, even before he got subbed in during the match between Ubers and Bastard Munchen, Hiori was already breaking everything down. For example, when Lorenzo was wreaking havoc with his long-range zombie counterattack, Hiori immediately saw through it. He realized that Gagamaru and Kiyora teaming up again was a mistake because Baro was already taking advantage of the chaos and was putting himself in a perfect spot to score. It was the same when Yukimia sent a lob pass to Isagi, only for Snuffy to intercept it. While Igarashi thought the pass was perfect, Hiori disagreed. He saw that it wasn't the pass Isagi needed. A fast, precise ball to his feet would have been way better. That kind of deep analysis is why Hiori isn't just a talented learner. He's one of the best. His vision, football IQ, and elite playmaking let him adapt to any situation on the field. And let's not forget, Isagi personally vouched for Hiori to be subbed instead of Kiyora. At that moment, Bastard Munchen needed a game changer, someone unpredictable who could improvise on the spot, a playmaker who could breathe new life into the match. And man, Hiori delivered. He instantly synced with Isagi and created a chemical reaction so strong that they pulled off a game-winning play without even planning it in detail. They didn't even make eye contact, and yet Hiori still somehow knew exactly where to send a nasty no-look pass. Their vision collides and overlaps so naturally they don't even need to think about what the other will do. They already know. Everything is just clicking. Even Niko admits that this kind of chemistry between two talented learners is only possible if their mindsets are perfectly in sync. But this match wasn't just about their teamwork. It was also the moment when Hiori found his ego. He realized he had the power to create the world's best striker, and from then on, he became an egoist himself. If even Isagi can't keep up with his passes and vision, he won't hesitate to leave him behind. And Hiori didn't stop there. He pulled off another no-look rapid pass against Parasex Jin, this time to set up Isagi's 2-gun direct volley. All of this was only possible because Hiori overcame his biggest challenge, Charles and his contrarian thinking. To beat him, Hiori flipped his own logic inside out. Instead of just reading Charles, he contradicted his contrarian thinking over and over until he cracked the pattern, intercepted his pass, and took control of the game. This player has the natural body specs of a genius, but instead of relying on them like other prodigies, he uses them to boost his talented learner playstyle. We're talking about Nijiro Nanise. During the Neo-Egoist League, Nanise made a shocking discovery. He's actually ambidextrous. All this time, he thought he was just another right-footed player like most people. But thanks to his training with Rin, he realized that his left foot is just as powerful as his right. And here's the crazy part. Only 1% of people in the world have true ambidexterity. The thing is, since Nanase just found out about this ability, his overall playstyle is still that of a talented learner. He reads the field well, works smoothly with teammates, and in the Neo-Egoist League, he's completely focused on using his ambidexterity to make scoring easier for Rin. Seriously, at this point, this guy's basically Rin's personal property. Right now, Nanase isn't using his ambidexterity to pull off monstrous game-breaking plays like the true geniuses of Blue Lock. He's not at the level of players like Nagi, Shidou, or even Gagamaru yet. Speaking of true geniuses, if you're curious why Nanase doesn't quite make the cut yet, check out this video where I break down every genius in Blue Lock, and explain why players like Rin, Baru, and Nagi are on a whole other level. Tabito Karasu is the analytical crow of Parasex Jin, and he has 2 unique eye abilities that makes him a serious problem for his opponents. At first, Karasu's whole strategy was built around exploiting the weakest link on the enemy team. He only took on challenges he knew he could win, and this method worked perfectly for him in Blue Lock's early stages. While scouting opponents before a match isn't unusual, Karasu takes it way more seriously than anyone else. You see, Karasu knows he isn't a genius with superhuman abilities. He's a player who maximizes the data he gathers through sheer observation. That's where his assassin eyes come in. This gives him the ability to pinpoint the weak spot, break them down, and crush their team's defense until he scores. He's especially good at using his hands to disrupt defenders and pulling off deceptive feints to get past them. But during the Neo-Egoist League, his assassin eyes went through a major upgrade. Instead of going after the weakest player, Karasu realized that in a match filled with world-class talent, the key to victory was eliminating the center player, the one controlling the game. If that player never gets a shot, their entire strategy collapses before it even takes shape. Even Loki recognized Karasu's potential and pushed him to become better at duels. This is the core of his development in Parasex Jin, and it paid off. Karasu also awakened metavision, which he can switch between his assassin eyes when needed. This combo massively improves his field awareness and makes him an even bigger threat. In fact, he even teamed up with Charles at one point to completely shut down Isagi and Kaiser's synchronized play. When it comes to analyzing geniuses and figuring out how to counter them, you can't forget about Mikage Ryo. Ryo has been a talented learner ever since he met Nagi back in high school. The moment he saw Nagi's talent, he immediately recognized his worth and made sure the world did too. That right there is exactly what Ego's theory of evolution talks about. Geniuses don't just rise on their own. Talented learners are the ones who discover them. And in Nagi's case, Ryo was the biggest reason he even realized he had the skills of a prodigy. But Ryo isn't just a supporter of geniuses, he has his own way of keeping up with them. He's developed a formula to evolve and stand side by side with Nagi in their goal to win the World Cup. And the key to that is the chameleon style. The chameleon style lets Ryo copy other players' abilities with insane accuracy up to 99%, and he's got two different ways of using it. The chameleon style defense and the neo-chameleon striker mode. With this, Ryo has pulled off crazy moves. He's copied Sei's nutmeg, Rin's outside spin shot, Aiku's total defense, and more. This works because Ryo's physique is well-rounded. His stats in the Neo-Egoist League are all balanced with A-rank grades across the board. Even during the U20 match, while sitting on the bench, he was studying everything happening on the field. So when he finally got subbed in, he immediately copied the Japan U20 defender's best techniques. As long as a move is within his physical abilities, he can replicate it almost perfectly. And here's where it gets even more interesting. You see, Ryo unlocked Metavision in the Neo-Egoist League and used it to give Nagi the perfect pass to crush Isagi. At first glance, Charles Chevalier might seem like a genius, but the truth is, he's also a talented learner. In fact, he's so skilled that he can control Rin, Shidou, and even Loki once he evolves further. And let's not forget, the main reason Loki joined the Neo-Egoist League in the first place was to set up Charles' evolution and use him to surpass the best striker in the world. What makes Charles so unique is his contrarian philosophy. His metavision isn't just about seeing the field. It's built on his instinct to go against the norm. If something seems like the right or better choice, Charles does the opposite. Even when Loki was giving them instructions before their match against Bastard Munchen, Charles was so bored he refused to listen until Loki told him not to. Then Charles went, "Huh? Then I'll listen." And this mindset completely carries over to his gameplay. His passes are so unpredictable that even Hiori had to think in reverse over and over just to counter him. Charles' metavision, which we call the Playmaker Eyes, lets him not only create insane chemical reactions on the field, but also steal the ball from opponents to shut down their plays. This eye type is perfect for Charles, who has the insane ability to sniff out where the best play, whether from his team or from the opponents, is about to happen. From there, he just follows his instincts and delivers disgustingly good passes that satisfy his pleasure, sending the ball to what he calls the ultimate contrarian spot. It's a playstyle that fits perfectly with his personality, and because of it, Charles can control the entire field to the point where even Isagi struggles to outsmart him. As long as he doesn't get too bored and rush to the bench, Charles has the ability to lead both Shidou and Rin. He even teamed up with Karasu, another talented learner, to shut down one of Isagi and Kaiser's plays. Itoshi Sei is a new generation World 11 player and was once known as Japan's greatest treasure. Even at a young age, he was already recognized worldwide, earning him a spot in Real's youth team, where he plays now. We saw just how insanely skilled Sei is during the U20 match. His dribbling, shooting, and passing were all world class, and at times it felt like he was controlling the entire pitch with his playmaking. He linked up with Shidou so many times and created ridiculous chemical reactions that led to goals. And that wasn't even Sei at his best. And that whole game, he barely broke a sweat, meaning there's still a whole other level to him we've barely seen. Like Isagi, it wouldn't be surprising if Sei thought of himself as a genius at first, but after moving to Real and playing against even better players, he probably got a reality check. That's why when he returned to Japan and met Rin, he straight up told him that their dream of becoming the world's best strikers together was over. Sei saw it for himself. It's a big world out there, full of monsters even stronger than him. So instead of chasing the title of the best striker, he decided to aim for something else. Now, he wants to become the best midfielder in the world. But even after everything he's seen overseas, Sei still believes that his brother is a genius. He knows that Rin has the potential to be the best striker while he becomes the best midfielder right alongside him. If things had gone differently, they could have been the greatest duo out there. But unfortunately, their dream ends right here. At first, everyone, even Isagi, thought Michael Kaiser was a genius, but the manga later confirmed that, just like Isagi, Kaiser is actually a talented learner. Kaiser's signature move, the Kaiser Impact, might just be the fastest shot in the world. Even Noah admits it. We've seen Kaiser use it again and again to score, even when his shot paths seem completely blocked. He pulls this off by channeling all his strength into his right foot and firing the shot in one fluid motion. However, when it comes to genius level abilities, Kaiser Impact doesn't actually rank that high. In fact, Kaiser wasn't even born with insane right foot strength to perform this shot. Instead, he developed it himself so he could climb the ranks in Bastard Munchen. Kaiser plays using logic. Just like Isagi, he uses metavision to analyze the field, process information, and make plays based on what he sees. But just because he's a talented learner doesn't mean he's inferior to geniuses. In fact, geniuses and talented learners don't exist in a hierarchy. They drive each other forward in a relative relationship. Even Noah acknowledges that Kaiser, as a new generation World 11 player, could one day become his rival. That's why he ignited Kaiser's rivalry with Isagi. He's using Isagi as the trigger to push Kaiser to reawaken his ego. You see, Kaiser thrives on despair and restriction. His whole life, he used malice to prove his existence. He crushed dreams, shattered hope, and felt a little more human every time he did it. But to truly awaken, Kaiser had to let go of all of that. To reach the level of the world's best, he had to discard his glory, pride, and even his malice for Isagi. He had to reset himself to zero and rediscover his true ego. With that, Kaiser completely reworked his playstyle, ultimately scoring against Parasex Jin with a new variation of his Kaiser Impact, the Kaiser Impact Magnus. Even more surprising, Kaiser actually teamed up with Isagi to form a duo of talented learners to take down Parasex Jin's Genius Duo. If you want to learn more about this duo and the most unstoppable duos in Blue Lock, go check out our video on that. Jinpachi Ego isn't just the general manager of the Blue Lock project. He's also a former pro player and a talented learner who once stood on the same stage as Noel Noah and the world's best players. We never actually see how Ego played, but there are some big hints that suggest one thing. He had the same mindset, philosophy, and playstyle as Isagi. In chapter 204, when Isagi was discussing metavision and egocentrism with Noah, Noah pointed out something interesting. He told Isagi that he reminded him of his first rival, Ego. Then, during the Bastard Munchen vs Zubers match, Snuffy mentioned that Baro and Isagi's rivalry reminded him of the twisted rivalry between Noah and Ego in the past. And if Baro, a genius, represents Noah in this comparison, then that means Ego was a talented learner just like Isagi. And honestly, Ego might have known all along that Isagi was just like him. The moment Isagi realized the difference between geniuses and talented learners, it was exactly what Ego expected. Because when Isagi hit the brick wall, when he realized he didn't have the inhuman philosophy that geniuses do, Ego's aura eyes lit up. He knew it was time for Isagi to learn the formula for evolution. You see, Ego has developed countless concepts, strategies, and formulas to create the world's best striker from Japan. To come up with all these tactics, he had to analyze both geniuses and talented learners inside and out. But if there's one player in Blue Lock who takes Ego's formula for evolution very seriously, it's Isagi. But isn't Isagi the genius of adaptability himself? Well, for those of you who thought that, let me show you why it's wrong to label Isagi as a genius. Back then, Isagi called himself the genius of adaptability because he didn't fully understand Ego's philosophy about geniuses and talented learners. But during the match against Parasex Jin, with players like Rin, Shidou, Loki, and even Noah on the field, Isagi finally realized something. His plays aren't superhuman. He's not a genius in the way that Rin or Shidou are. His ability to adapt is actually a skill he developed so he could keep up with real geniuses. Because if adapting was a true genius level ability, then even Snuffy does it better than him. Eventually, Isagi understood what I mentioned earlier about how talented learners aren't necessarily weaker than geniuses. They compete, admire each other, and hone their egos on the same field. Just like Kaiser, Isagi let go of his fixations, his rivalry with Rin, his malice toward Kaiser, and even his admiration for Noah. Resetting himself back to zero, the only thing left was his desire to win. And we've seen Isagi do this many times. He breaks himself down, rebuilds his logic, and comes up with new ways to overcome his biggest challenges. This is how he discovered peak performances, protagonism, chemical reactions, metavision, and more. At his peak talented learner state, Isagi unlocked awakened metavision, created an impromptu chemical reaction with Kaiser, and even made a defensive play that outmatched Rin, Loki, and Noah. He found a new way to fight, and it's by treating himself as a pawn, a mere tool for victory. And with his malice toward Kaiser gone, Isagi formed a talented learner partnership with him. Using luck, coordination, and logic, they outplayed the geniuses and defeated Parasex Jin. Now, Isagi Oichi stands as Blue Lock's Demon King and the top-ranked player of the Neo-Egoist League, alongside Rin. But Blue Lock's concepts, formulas, and strategies aren't the only ones that push their characters to the limits. Want to see how other anime handles power scaling and high-pressure battles? Watch this next.